TIFU the last 5 years of my life. So this is going to be a long post, so I will include a TLDR at the end. As the title states, I have ducked up the last 5 years of my life by not making my own decisions. I have let everyone make decisions for me, and I am ashamed of myself. Let's take the major hobby that I love, which is Vocaloid. For people who do not know, Vocaloids are vocal synthesizers made by Yamaha. They're a singing program where you can make your own music. So back to the story. Hatsune Miku, who is the most famous Vocaloid, saved my life when I was in high school. I was depressed and suicidal when I switched schools, and everyone would call me the nerdy kid who came from a ghetto neighborhood. Didn't matter that I was white. Still got made fun of by other white kids. Hatsune Miku's music made me happy and smile, and even cry. I loved collecting merchandise from her from there on out. I went to her concerts in 2014 and 2016 too. Anyways, while collecting, I also had a huge anime and manga collection. Let's just say, my parents weren't too happy with my hobby, but they still went along with it. My mom always called Miku my girlfriend because I had posters of her all over my walls. Every wall was covered with a Hatsune Miku poster. I had figurines also. From 2012, 2018, I was happy. This was my life. Anime, manga, video games, Vocaloids. This was also the last year until earlier last year that I would collect everything. I was slowly starting to fall out of this hobby in the beginning of 2018. My dad could see that. So in the mix of all of this, he somehow convinced me to sell it all. I had 2 full bookshelves of anime and manga. Gone. All gone. He said that he likes the fact that I wanted to take this step and get back to watching my real hobbies, which is sports. Mind you, all I watch is soccer and football. I don't really care about baseball, and I don't like basketball or ice hockey, but I will say, Aussie rules football is amazing. Back to the story. So here I am, almost 4 years later, having to rebuild everything. I can't even think for myself. My ex, who I still see occasionally, who even cheated on me, even though she broke up with me and told me we aren't together, but we are together, whatever the duck that meant. Mind you, she got pregnant but some dude, and ducked 3 other dudes at a party she went to, in the same night. I think I'm only seeing her because I am scared of what will happen to the kid if I am not there. She now claims she's not dating anyone and she still likes me, but I don't know. It's all foggy. It's like I haven't been able to think for myself since 2018. This is also around the time she started dating me. She was also a factor of why I went along with what my dad said. I was so pussy-whipped and in love that I wanted to do anything to make her happy, even if it cost me my Switch, PS4, and all my otaku stuff. And I always used to spend money on her to make her happy. I have no idea what's wrong with me, and I am on the verge of tears even writing this. I also ducked up by picking a major in college that has a dying industry. Now I am finally going back to school soon for a very in-demand career path, so that's a start. But every time I think about what has happened to me in the past, I can't move on. How do I even move on? How do I even become happy again? I am sorry if this sounds sappy, but I have nowhere I can vent. The last 5 years have been such a blur, and this is all I wanted to say. There is so much more, like her making me get kicked out of my house twice, and when I needed her and was sleeping in my car, she wasn't there for me. Story 2, TIFU by not realizing my stepfather never had a son. So some context first. My mother cheated on my dad with stepfather over 10 years ago and they have been married for 7 years now. I never really gave my stepfather a chance because of that. I wasn't rude or a jerk to him, I just didn't want to go and do things with him because I felt like he ruined my parents' marriage. Anyway, I started riding motorcycles about 6 months ago and he started riding them too, and I thought it was odd because he never talked about it before. Him and I have gone on a couple of rides together now, and it never hit me till now that he tried so hard to do stuff with me because he never had a son of his own. He has 4 daughters and then me as stepson, who was just blowing him off for years. I can't believe I never realized that till today. I feel like such a jerk and that I wasted all that time with him. I hope he can forgive me someday. Sorry I'm on mobile. TLDR never gave stepfather a chance. Realized today he tried so hard to have a relationship with me because he never had a son and he saw me as a son. I hope it's not too late to fix. Update. While there are so many mixed comments here, some saying I've matured and am ready to forgive him, and others that say screw him, he ruined your family. He did know that my mom was married and I won't forget what he did to my family. But that was also 10 years ago. Both of my parents are doing very good and I'm ready to move on from that finally. He has been a good father to his 4 daughters. I just never realized he's always treated me the same way he treats them and the way my father still treats me. It's going to be a long road, but I am finally going to start opening up to him a little more. He is not my father and will never be my father. But he has always been there for me and I never cared. Story 3, TIFU by cheating on my significant other. I'm a college student that's never dealt with a situation like this, so please bear with me. I've been with my partner for about 4 months at this point, but we decided to break up but still talk to one another. We were going through a big rough patch and I tend to be a person that can't handle confrontation or arguments very well, and I dread the thought of being alone, and I thought that she didn't love me anymore because she would always just talk to me with these dry cold responses. One day on Instagram I'm going through stories and I see a person I'm not really close with, but I know of her, so I slide up and made a joke about her story. She then as a joke flirted with me, so jokingly I did the same. We started talking more and more and actually became close friends until we realized something more was developing. The problem is I wasn't transparent in the beginning because, like I said, fear of confrontation, so I never told her about my SO. One day my SO got suspicious and checked my phone and found I was talking to her and texted the girl. She then gave me an ultimatum of either I block the girl or I don't and I lose her. I knew she already texted her, so I was like, if she leaves I have no one else, and that fear of being alone kicked in, so I blocked her. But I honestly fell in love with the girl because she treated me better and we had common interests and were very similar. I tried to text her to apologize and explain, but she blocked me, so now I'm back with my SO, who I honestly believe is just waiting for a reason to leave. Story 4, TIFU. I cheated on my girlfriend by using of while abroad, and got caught a while later. Throwaway account. This happened a while ago. Me? Had a girlfriend? So this story started. I went out abroad to make some money because my whole life I was poor. I was working in a plantation as a planter florist. 2 months in, after going strong, I started cracking. Mind you, I'm an introverted, depressed guy. I reached my breaking point of being abroad, having no friends and nothing interesting to do. I wanted to get my frustration out somehow. While using TikTok, I stumbled upon this girl who was an model. I got interested and opened the app. At first the app might seem quite innocent, but here is where I was wrong. In a few minutes and I spotted this model who we will call not PG. I scanned through her profile, I liked her vibe, and then I spotted her 1+ exclusive profile. Being the dumbass, frustrated, depressed and Petrnity quit, I went there and bought the subscription. And then it began. I started seeing all these girls that would do anything to talk to you and get you to spend money on them. I started spending $5, then $10, and then up to $25 per video of seeing some girl get her game on herself as well as sing. While I was talking and messaging my girlfriend like nothing was happening. I won't go into details. 2 months after I started this weekly spree and getting to know a lot of girls on the app, I was closing in on my time there. The day had come, I went back home. Went to my girlfriend's place, spent time with her. She was happy to see me, so this is where I TIFU. One day a couple months later I was ready to travel to meet my friend for the first time, and I deleted my browsing history in front of my girlfriend. After I left, she was left very suspicious and checked through my computer and found all of the disgusting and nasty things I paid, said and did there. That weekend became the most frustrating and quiet days I've ever had. I became so nervous seeing messages like, I know what you did. And when you come back home we will have a talk. When I came back I was met with the coldest, most empty gaze ever, like I was some piece of trash on the street, since I didn't know what I did to get her to that point. Then I was met with the harsh truth. I was called out on everything that I was doing. I went white as a sheet of paper. Trying to say sorry, say I wasn't using it anymore. And a bunch more excuses. I was begging for forgiveness, saying I wouldn't do that anymore. But as everyone knows, that's not how it works. It's safe to say that evening we broke up and I moved out a few days later. Update, I really wanted to get this off my chest. It's keeping me in the same place for a while now. Yes, I know I was so wrong for that. She was the best woman you could ever get. And I broke her heart into a billion pieces. Update 2. After that, if it makes Reddit feel better, I was in deep depression. Currently taking therapy courses while being on antidepressants and sleeping pills. I developed insomnia and lack of appetite as well as social anxiety. Story 5. My wife cheated. We have been married nearly 4 years and together for nearly 8. We have a 1-year-old daughter, together. Our relationship was becoming distant and my wife stopped sharing things with me and would never initiate physical contact. I think I first noticed this about 10-12 months ago. I thought it was down to stress and she has a tough time with a baby, postnatal depression and medication. I did talk to her and raised my concerns and she said she would work on our communication. It got fractionally better for a while and got worse again. At this point I felt I didn't have anyone to go to other than my wife and I didn't discuss it with anyone else at all. I brought it up again, however this time it was in more of an argument and it ended the same as before. I had noticed that my wife was becoming more absent and detached from the relationship and I asked her if she still wanted to be in it and she said she loved me and did want to remain. In our discussions and arguments she stonewalled me. This had been the case for a while. In the past month or so I have had niggling feelings that something might have been going on. This was mainly based on my intuition rather than anything else. I was considering unlocking her phone, following her or putting a tracker on her car, but I decided not to as it was an invasion of her privacy and essentially wrong. Then I saw a message on my wife's phone asking if she was free for a call. It was from her male best friend. I was with her the rest of the evening and she didn't make any calls. I then realized that this was probably a regular occurrence and that she was hiding it from me. I then decided to take action. I unlocked her phone and could see that there were lots of messages from this guy. There were also regular phone calls for weeks that I had no knowledge of. I didn't have time to read them really, but I knew something was up. I then took her phone and copied the messages and sent to myself so I could check them in detail. I felt really guilty with this and it took me a few attempts before I could actually go through with it as I felt like it was wrong. The messages were clearly very flirty and it was a clear emotional affair, but there were parts which were on Snapchat and also parts which had clearly been deleted. With the information I had, I decided to confront my wife. She admitted it was inappropriate but said it was just good friends and that there was no romance. I asked her if it was anything more, if there were any photo exchanges or physical encounters. I told her to look up what an emotional affair was and she conceded that it was inappropriate. I asked her again if there was anything more and she said no. She didn't know that I had seen her messages on her phone. I asked if I could look and she said if I wanted to, but there might be hurtful things about me on there, so we left it at that and I said if she wants it to work she is, so be honest and tell me if there is anything else. I left it a couple of days and spoke to her. She said that she had contacted the guy and said they couldn't talk anymore and to have no contact for a while. I asked her why she didn't speak to me about this first and she said because she thought I needed space. I said, do you not think I might have wanted to be involved in that and that I might not want her to speak to him ever? She said she thought I might say that. I then reiterated how if there is any chance of reconciliation I needed her to be honest and she said she was. I then said that I wanted to look at her phone. I went through and showed her messages and grilled her. She admitted to sending suggestive photos on Snapchat but said she sent nothing more explicit and that there had been no physical S-time contact. I then showed her more messages and grilled her more and she admitted to having S-time with this man. She said it was just once. I asked her to be honest and she said she was. I then showed her more messages on her own phone and she admitted to sending nudes and to masturbating on Snapchat with him. She still said she only met him for S-time once. After some more interrogation she admitted to a second time and that they had planned to another time but he got too drunk. The most recent time they had S-time was very recently and my wife assured me that she had used a condom. However, before this we also found out that we were pregnant. I say we. The condition date according to the pregnancy test puts the conception near to the date she had S-time with this guy. I obviously have found this very difficult and so had she. It's probably worse for her at the moment. I'm currently handling it quite well considering. I am not sure what the future holds and I have no idea how to manage it. We are going to speak with a professional and I have had thoughts about getting a paternity test for my existing daughter who I love with all my heart and I hate myself for even considering taking this action. I also have considered a prenatal paternity test, although whatever the result I would still intend to support my wife as I don't want any risk or negative effect to come to my daughter. This is making me feel very anxious at potentially wasting a year or so of my life. I want to be open to repair and build a new relationship with my wife, but I also know I deserve better. I know a marriage is about making the other person the best they can and I do try to do this and still want my wife to thrive and heal whatever we do, and despite what had happened I do still love her. The main reason I would like to see if it can work is for my daughter, but I understand that even if we both genuinely try, it might not. I know this is a long message and thank you to anyone reading and offering any constructive comments or wishes. My wife cheated update. It is just over a week after D-Day, so still very early days. It has been difficult and I have had ups and downs, but generally I am taking it well. My mental health is good although I am not sleeping very well, but this is expected. My WS has agreed to everything that I have suggested so far. I have also told her that she needs to be doing this work and not me. The dynamic in the relationship has always been that I usually fix things and lead conversations. I know this isn't necessarily completely bad, but it's probably a red flag. She has agreed to be proactive. WS has been extremely upset. She had cried and wallowed and is clearly feeling like garbage. I'm not sure if this is because she's feeling sorry for herself or is remorse, but I suspect it is mainly the former. AP has tried to contact her twice and she has told me both times. I asked WS to write out the NC message to AP and send it to me. I read it and the tone was not one I wanted. It was soft, and even though it did say she wants to commit to trying to repair her family, she said she's sorry, but the only way I can move forward is to never have contact again. I told her I didn't like the tone and she had a meltdown, said she was going to go away forever, launched everything off the table, went upstairs and cut her legs superficially, but they bled, and stood at the top of the stairs saying it would be better without her there. I obviously had to put everything aside and sort her out, calmed her down, cleaned her wounds, phoned mental health crisis teams. She has now got an appointment on Monday with a counselor. She had suffered from depression before, but this to me seemed like it was BP and attention-seeking behavior. Today she is fine, obviously sad and embarrassed, but I don't think she is a risk to herself. I have decided to continue with talking about the boundaries and putting some more consequences out there. I have written her NC example and she has said she can see the difference. She felt the message I penned didn't put enough responsibility on her, as the tone was to show him that he was wrong and that WS was repulsed by AP. Now she had come to her senses. She has been tasked with writing something of a similar tone in her own words, which she is doing now. I have also told her she needs to tell a member of my family, a member of her family, a work friend and a friend who is in the social circle geographical area of AP. I am making her tell them, and I will observe the message. Paternity tests are coming. STD tests are booked. I have divorce papers which I haven't shown her yet, but I will fill them all out and give them to her and tell her to sign it. I am going to speak to a legal professional and get a post-nup written up. My intention is for everything to be given to me if we divorce at any point in the future, and for any of her savings to be used to pay for remaining mortgage or any debts. For custody of our daughter to be 50-50 with no financial obligations. I get to keep our family dog. The lawyer may suggest other things as well, but this is what I want. Obviously there is another dynamic which I thought would raise its ugly head. Part of me wants to be done with it because it's like a toxic nuclear bomb, but I know that I will try and fix it because I am better than what she has been, and I know she might fail and our marriage might not work, but my soul still wants to help her and I want the relationship to be rebuilt. I know a lot of you think I have no respect and I'm foolish, but I do understand the risks and I do know it might not work and that she might be full of it, but for now I'm going to continue. That is me being true to myself. Thank you for everyone who has commented and messaged me. It has helped me with options and understanding aspects of WS behavior that I had maybe sugar-coated. Update: am I too foolish or too hasty? D-Day was only a week ago, so everything is very fresh, but WS has said that she wants to stay in the marriage and she has said she had ended the affair. She has sent NC message and provided me with a detailed timeline and my request. She also only trickle-truthed me when I confronted her with evidence. I initially took the lead and I know that is now a mistake, but I wanted to know and I wanted to settle and fix, which is my way. I am now trying to take a step back from the situation to see what WS does. Today I'm working a long day on overtime. I left the house at 7 a.m. and won't be home until probably 10 p.m. maybe later. I asked WS if she could put my washing in the dryer as I don't have time. I did this my text message and she replied with one word, yes. She has also sent me Snapchat videos of our young daughter. Firstly, this triggers me as she used Snapchat for cheating. I feel that she is sending me the videos so I don't question why she is showing us online. I haven't told her this. Also, the fact she hasn't given me any update on her day at all is worrying me. We did mention that it might be good having time apart to think and calm, but I feel very insecure and feel foolish for believing she might try and make changes herself. It is nearly 4 p.m. where I live, so that you have an idea of timescales. It's not a really long time, but I am anxious. My wife cheated. Update: I got the paternity results back of my darling daughter and it shows her as being mine. I knew it really, but having it in black and white is what I needed. Now awaiting the results of the unborn.